Siberut is the largest island that makes up the Mentawai Islands. Siberut separated from the Sunda Strait since 500,000 years ago. This separation caused the flora and fauna on Siberut Island to evolve separately from the evolution of Sundaland. This isolation results in endemic and unique ecological species. This island titled as the Galapagos or Madagascar of Asia due to the consideration of global conservation. Cultural elements also complement the richness of Siberut that has existed for thousands of years. Sikere's spiritual dimension and culture are still enigmatically attached. They are known as the keeper of the forest. Eco-Sofi concept is a must to stay in Bumi Sikere. One of them is through the domain of conservation and ecotourism. Ecotourism development project in Siberut National Parks areas, STP Trisakti and TFCA-Sumatera. In relation to conservation, the Trisakti School of Tourism together with TFCA-Sumatera has an ecotourism development program in the buffer zone of the Siberut National Park.
Kami di sini, TFCA Sumatera, mempercayakan kepada Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Trisakti untuk membuat model ekowisata yang implementable di lapangan. Secara saintifik bisa dipertanggungjawabkan dan ini sebesar-besarnya peran masyarakat lokal di dalam pengembangannya. Inilah program yang kita inginkan, bagaimana kita meningkatkan kesejahteraan masyarakat melalui pendekatan ekowisata. Kesejahteraan ini penting untuk kegiatan konservasi karena seperti saya sampaikan tadi bahwa kita tidak bisa bicara konservasi tanpa meningkatkan kesejahteraan masyarakat.
This project started from the discourse of academics and environmentalists on various environmental issues that are destructive in nature, causing a decline in the principle of socio-economic benefits for the community. This is not without reason, because since 4 decades ago, the Siberut forest has been exploited on a large scale by business opportunists. The forestry sector's late paradigm that follows the timber management concept has been breaking the hearts of Siberut's locals. Forest exploitation has started since the 1970s with the issuance of Forest Concession Rights, or FCR, by the central government to 4 large corporations for logging in Siberut. At that time, the government divided 408,000 hectares of Siberut forest for 4 HPH holder corporations and left only 6,000 hectares for the wildlife sanctuary and 65,000 hectares for settlements and agriculture. This is very ironic because the conservation forests are only given 1%, then settlements and plantations are given 14%. While HPH controls 85% of the entire forest area of Siberut. In the 1980s and 1990s, the development for conservation in Siberut Island was progressing rapidly. Academics, national and international NGOs, as well as multilateral institutions such as IUCN, UNESCO, and SCAPI, voiced the importance of protecting the forests of Siberut. The main narrative forest is the Siberut conservation movement. Data from Ministry of Forestry shows that large corporations cut down 9,911 hectares of forest in the period 2008 to 2017. The concession areas are in North Siberut and West Siberut with a maximum wood volume of 483,975 cubic meters. On average, 1 tree equals 5 meter cubics of wood. Then in 1 decade, the company who got the right would have cut around 97,195 trees, or in average 8,000 trees per year. This is of course very concerning because it threatens the sustainability of the forest ecosystem of Siberut Island.
Nah, TFCA-Sumatera ini merupakan program hibah untuk konservasi hutan. Salah satunya adalah untuk peningkatan ekonomi masyarakat di sekitar hutan. Karena nonsens kita bicara konservasi hutan tanpa peningkatan kebudayaan masyarakat atau sosial ekonomi masyarakat. Salah satunya adalah dengan konsep ekowisata, itu yang merupakan salah satu kegiatan untuk peningkatan ekonomi masyarakat.
In 2018, Trisakti School of Tourism collaborated with TFCA-Sumatera to develop an ecotourism development project in the buffer area of the Siberut National Park for 2.5 years.
Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Trisakti bekerjasama dengan TFCA Tropical Forest Conservation Action mempunyai proyek di Siberut Selatan, yaitu program pengembangan ekowisata di 3 desa binaan kami yang merupakan desa penyangga Taman Nasional Siberut, yaitu Desa Madobak, Matotonan, dan Ante.
Trisakti School of Tourism formed a team to manage the Siberut Ecotourism project. We collected various secondary data very completely, both geographic, economic, sociocultural, biophysical data, and regional tourism policy data. These various data become ecotourism big data to be processed and analyzed using the mixed methods approach. At the end of 2018, the team conducted an assessment of ecotourism potential research to South Siberut Island. For 2 weeks, the team explored the buffer area of the Siberut National Park, starting from Muntai Village, Madobak Village, and Matotonan Village to enter the national park. Accessibility to the project site village is quite unique and quite difficult. To be able to reach Muntai Village, one must cross the Mentawai Strait by using a fast boat for 4 hours. Then, in order to reach Madobak Village, ecotourists can use river transportation or pompong with a travel time of 4 hours. Meanwhile, to reach Matotonan Village, ecotourists can continue the journey from Madobak for 3 to 4 hours. Matotonan Village is classified as a remote area, which is directly adjacent to the national park. Rachmatullah and his team succeeded in identifying 168 ecotourism potentials, both nature and culture. Then the project manager made a dissemination activity on the Trisakti STP campus. We received a positive response that resulted in an output in the form of an MOU on the sustainability of the Siberut Ecotourism Development Program and Education Program.
Dalam melaksanakan proyek pengembangan ekowisata di Desa Penyangga Taman Nasional Siberut, kami sudah melakukan MOU dengan pihak-pihak terkait, terutama dengan Pemda di Kabupaten Mentawai, khususnya dengan DISPARPORA dan BAPPEDA.
In the context of eco-nature tourism, there are at least 19 attractions of natural phenomena, 20 types of flora, and 21 species of fauna that have potential to be developed as ecotourism attractions. Meanwhile, in the context of eco-culture tourism, the potential for ecotourism includes 13 types of heritage materials, 14 types of immaterial heritage, 42 culinary varieties, 13 kinds of spiritual ecotourism attractions, and 26 handicraft or souvenir products that have potential economic value. Assessment of ecotourism potential is a starting point in ecotourism planning. This is not only important as a prerequisite for the scientific approach, but also important as an objective instrument in the orientation of future ecotourism development.
Dalam konteks konsep dan rencana strategis, di sini kita ada 6 pendekatan berbeda. Pendekatan mulai dari pendekatan demand approach, policy approach, kemudian supply approach, kemudian behavior, integrated, hingga a priori approach. Karena bagaimanapun, ecotourism domain adalah bagian daripada seni.
The data proves that the various existing ecotourism resources produce a score of 6, which is highly significant from a scale of 1 to 7. So that is feasible to be developed as an ecotourism area. In the context of eco-nature tourism, the existence of natural phenomena, flora and fauna stored in TNS is classified as rich and unique, so it is very feasible to be implemented in the next 2 years. In addition, environmental services in the form of carbon stock stored in Siberut are also quite large. Research from Indra Gusmardi in 2016 proved that the carbon stock in the natural forest of Siberut Island was as much as 132.66 tons per hectare. This shows that Siberut is a place that is very rich in biological natural resources. This should be the reason why continuity and renewable resources has been embraced in the utilization of natural resources in Siberut. That is by optimizing various environmental services, including the development of carbon stock and ecotourism. This principle is also in harmony with the SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, and REDD+, or reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. Siberut National Park as a biosphere reserve is one of the most important forest areas on the Sumatra Island. 65% of the Siberut National Park area is covered by primary dipterocarp forests, mixed primary forests, swamp, coastal forests, and mangroves, which are habitats for various flora and fauna, especially rare endemic flora and fauna. There are 896 species of woody plants, 25 species of orchids, and 5 species of fungi and mosses, as well as 6 species of endemic flora.
Kaitan dengan pengembangan ekowisata, khususnya mensikapi kerjasama STP Trisakti dengan TFCA, tentu kami selaku Taman Nasional menyambut baik. Karena sebagaimana kita ketahui bahwa di Taman Nasional ada 9 desa penyangga, ada 3 desa yang berada di kawasan. Artinya ketika konsep ekowisata, apalagi ekowisata yang berbasis masyarakat dikembangkan, tentu ini sungguh luar biasa. Karena memang kita tahu bahwa Siberut, kawasan Pulau Siberut adalah seperti kalau kita gambarkan adalah Galapagosnya Indonesia. Artinya ini memang benar-benar dijaga. Artinya pemanfaatannya harus pemanfaatan yang lestari, ekstraktif kita hindari, kita kurangi. Di sana juga banyak hal-hal luar biasa yang harus kita jaga. Ekowisata ini kan konsep kesinambungan terhadap lingkungan cukup luar biasa. Ada aspek ekonomi masyarakat, ada aspek ekologi yang luar biasa, ada pemanfaatannya yang lestari. Bukan seperti itu.
In terms of fauna, there are 31 species of mammals with 4 species of animals which are endemic primates. Only a few places in the world with a small island area have primates of high endemic value, and no other island in the world has the highest number of endemic primates except Siberut. The potential for cultural ecotourism in the Siberut buffer area is also very rich and amazing. The existence of Mentawai's local community, whom still firmly hold onto their customs and traditions, becomes a unique and valuable treasure. There's also the world's oldest tattoo that's still magnificently attached to a sikere. Anthropologists say that the Mentawai tribe has been tattooing their bodies ever since 1500 BC, means that it's older than the Egyptian tattoo, which was developed since 1300 BC. One of the pride of the heritage material owned by the Mentawai people is Uma. Uma is not only a place to live for the Mentawai people, but also as a place to hold all traditional ceremonies, family gatherings, celebrations or parties, as well as tribal meeting activities.
Konsep daripada proyek pengembangan ekowisata yang ada di kawasan penyangga Taman Nasional Siberut itu sendiri sebenarnya mengadopsi konsep Graffiti Center. Dalam konteks konsep kewilayahan, Desa Munte sebagai minor satelit ditujukan untuk mass ecotourism. Kemudian Madobag sebagai primary satelit ditujukan sebagai meso ecotourism. Sementara Matotonan sebagai rising star ditujukan untuk ecotourism development. Dan terakhir adalah Taman Nasional Siberut sebagai titik pusat Graffiti Center. Untuk pengembangan ekowisata dia harus lebih spesifik dan lebih ketat karena berkaitan dengan carrying capacity, baik itu yang sifatnya fisik maupun sosial fisikal.
Taking limited time, finances, and regulations into considerations, the team's first step is to establish several ecotourism programs that are focused on human resources establishment. There should be at least 3 out of 6 project outputs that should be achieved. In simple words, it's related to policy influencing and engagement, campaign or awareness, or ecotourism organization development, capacity buildings, or human resources development in the ecotourism sector, creating ecotourism product, or tangible and intangible, and networking, or institutions and private sectors.
Dalam konsep pelaksanaan program itu sendiri, di sini kami membagi 3 fase. Fase yang pertama adalah fase konsolidasi dan harmonisasi. Itu dilakukan selama 3 bulan pertama. Itu ditujukan untuk paduserasi program. Kemudian untuk fase selanjutnya selama 18 bulan berikutnya adalah fase pembangunan SDM. Mulai dari pemuatan organisasi Pokdarwis, kemudian hingga sampai pada serial pelatihan SDM itu sendiri, mulai dari pelatihan atraksi dan destinasi, kuliner, souvenir, hingga guiding dan paket wisata. Kemudian untuk fase ketiga adalah fase rejuvenasi. Di sini kita berbicara tentang inward marketing dan outward marketing, baik yang sifatnya digital marketing ataupun konvensional marketing. Itu sebagai bentuk rekoleksi dari berbagai serial pelatihan yang sudah dilakukan dan kita akan lakukan optimasi pemasaran ke depan.
Then on mid-2019, the team recruited a field staff. The recruit consisted of 1 field coordinator, 1 administrator, and finance, 3 area facilitator. The 3 field facilitators were stationed in every village, namely Munte Village, Madobag Village, and Matotonan Village. Aside from making the project management efficient and effective, the field facilitators were also needed to supervise and watch over the development of the human resources of the 3 villages at all times. The first implementation act was done in November 2019. During the consolidation and harmonization phase, the team held a meeting with several stakeholders in Tuapejat Mentawai. The aim of this meeting was to check the program's compatibility with tourism or ecotourism in 3 tourist villages. Development aim, target, and the output of this ecotourism project was also socialized by the team. And then, the project's developer team, Mentawai District DISPARPORA, and Siberut National Park's representative held socialization and FGD with the 3 villages leaders. The community of the 3 villages were very welcome about the idea of ecotourism development in 3 supporting villages in Siberut National Park. Munte Village and Madobag Village were already established as tourist village beforehand. Despite the fact that both villages had been established as tourist villages, both of the villages were still classified to zero management in the context of management. To strengthen the consistency of the project's continuity, the leaders of the 3 villages voiced the commitment written in the village ecotourism planning document. Several months later, Matotonan village applied and successfully established as a tourist village by the local government. After it was successfully established, the team gave trainings about Pokdarwis organization, strengthening in the 3 villages. Organization establishment phase was held in 3 meetings and one additional meeting for product potential reassessment and ecotourism services. Then, all primary and secondary data were synthetically analyzed as a foundation of determining the model and thematics of ecotourism human resources development training in 3 villages. Internal meeting was also held several times by the project's developer team in Trisakti School of Tourism. Several ideas were also given by Trisakti School of Tourism's lecturers, especially the ones that related to training in integrated travel package planning and ecotourism culinary training. The room was filled with dialectics during the brainstorming session in order to reach a conclusion, until finally the concrete documents of ecotourism training series in 3 supporting villages of Siberut National Park planning was created. There were 2 outputs that become the target of ecotourism human resources development phase. First, the increasing rate of knowledge and skills in managing ecotourism in 3 villages up to 60%. Second, the product marketing tools and ecotourism services in 3 villages were formed up to 60%. Coronavirus got into Indonesia in the beginning of March 2020, and there was PSBB, or large-scale social restriction. Any social activities were temporarily restricted. The crossing access through Siberut Island was also closed. We couldn't proceed the ecotourism project in Siberut temporarily. We lost time in total of 4 months. At the end, the team decided to operate Plan B by broadening collaboration and partnership. The partnership between Trisakti School of Tourism and UNP was made in the form of Memorandum of Understanding. The implementation of human resources development in the form of tourism training series could be resumed. We compacted the programs and activities. In a month, the team went to the field twice. We kept this condition ongoing until the end of the project. The thematic training series started off with the acknowledgement of Siberut National Park, conservation and ecotourism concept, and Sabta Pesona. The team also gave trainings about attraction management and ecotourism destination. The training was held for 2 days in every villages, 8 hours each day. The community were so excited to learn, so the trainings were often extended until midnight. The next training was related to homestay management in tourist villages.
Pada tahap pertama saya melakukan pelatihan homestay. Bagaimana menyiapkan masyarakat untuk menerima tamu, menyiapkan sebagian rumahnya, sebagian kamar yang biasa dipergunakan untuk menerima tamu. Kemudian apa saja sih yang harus mereka persiapkan, apa saja yang harus ada, dan bagaimana memberikan pelayanan terbaik bagi wisatawan yang akan datang di kemudian hari.
Pak Darwis was taught to understand and to practice the importance of service standardization and hospitality, housekeeping, food and beverage service, ethics, and aesthetics. Until today, there are 45 homestays across 3 tourist villages. Finally, the lecturers of Trisakti School of Tourism went to Siberut. The collaboration and partnership between Trisakti School of Tourism, Mentawai Regional Government, UNP and TNS continues. The people of 3 villages were also given a producing and packaging souvenir products training. They equipped with knowledge to strengthen the standardization of ecotourism souvenirs that are worth to sell, such as standardization of packaging, design and material, pricing, and distribution system pattern. Later on June 2021, thematic culinary training was done in 3 intervention villages. Local people were taught to make culinary product, both in enriching traditional culinary delight that are served directly and recollected culinary that tourists can take home with them. All of raw materials were from this area. Previously, various raw materials like sagu, taro, and banana were already brought to STP Trisakti campus to be tested their characteristics. All raw materials were tested in Food and Beverage Kitchen STP Trisakti laboratory. Finally, we were successful to develop culinary product of Mentawai without get rid of its authentic point. When at the site, chefs were doing cooking demo of various culinary product of Mentawai. Culinary training became quite special because the complexity level of all aspects. Geographic condition with quite hard accessibility became a challenge for the team to bring few pastry and kitchen appliances. They also were taught to enrich the taste, hygiene, service, aesthetics of dishes, and packaging, and making recollected culinary. Beside that, they were also equipped with knowledge to set standardization of price and standardization of business scope. Now, at least, there are 9 types of culinary products that ready to sell. Consists of sagu nastar filled with banana jam, cassava rengginang, coconut sagu, sagu cookies, banana dodol, spicy taro sticks, cheese taro sticks, banana sela, and coconut oil. People were doing this directly in culinary process. Now, all the recollected culinary of this ecotourism are ready to be sold to tourists and distributed more widely. Pokdaris in these 3 villages were also given guiding and interpretation technique training. Then, project management team brought tourism academics and practitioners to give tour package making training. Now, there are 3 integrated thematics tour packages that are ready to sell.
Kerjasama STP Trisakti, Universitas Negeri Padang, dan TFCA telah membina 3 desa di Kabupaten Mentawai, yaitu Desa Munte, kemudian Desa Madobak, dan Desa Matotonan. Beberapa pengabdian masyarakat sebagai tridharma perguruan tinggi telah kami lakukan, yaitu pembinaan homestay, pembinaan souvenir, dan juga paket wisata serta destinasi pariwisata. Nah, dari hasil pengabdian ini dapat kita lihat perkembangan dari 3 desa yang dari dulunya tidak ada kegiatan ekowisata sama sekali, saat ini sudah berkembang dengan baik.
All the activities of this ecotourism serial training was done one more time to strengthen the community's knowledge and skill. Other than that, accompaniment activity was also done by regional facilitator in each village. Accompaniment activity from regional facilitator is carried out every week. This activity is required to strengthen public's cognitive and effective aspect in implementing training materials independently. Right now, this project has entered the 3rd phase, which is ecotourism marketing. Inward and outward promotion activity is being done. Source person from UNP and travel agency practitioner was dispatched to train basic ecotourism marketing. Beside conventional marketing, digital marketing was also being taught to all Pokdaris members.
Desa Munte, Desa Madobak, Desa Matotonan. Dalam pendampingannya, selama 2 tahun di tempat kita di sini, saya kira sudah maksimal. Harapan kita ke depan bagaimana kita saling komunikasi untuk menjual ini apa yang ada di kecamatan kita, baik wisata budayanya, wisata alamnya kita kembangkan ke depan sehingga masyarakat bisa menikmati apa yang kita harapkan.
After a while, a representative of Pokdaris from each village was dispatched to Padang City to take production and management of single portal website and ticketing training. They were taught to manage the website and ticketing system to sell their products and ecotourism services. In the beginning of August 2021, the team resumed the ecotourism marketing activity, which was organizing ecotourism festival in Matotonan. This event was held along the Matotonan village anniversary, or called Lia Pula Gajat. This rare event was documentation in several Mentawai cultural attractions as ecotourism documentary video. In this event, many institutions and tourists present to watch the cultural celebration in Matotonan village. The district head of the Matotonan island along with the institutions were also present to enliven the cultural ceremony. In the end, the project development team succeeded to produce 4 thematic documentary ecotourism videos in Siberut. Along with the ecotourism attractions documentary, we acted as the evaluator of the field projects.
kami puas dengan kerja teman-teman dari STP Trisakti. Mereka sudah melebihi target yang dicanangkan selama ini. Jadi dulu kita bernegosiasi, oke, target 60%, ternyata bisa sampai 70% dari kegiatan itu, terutama untuk menerapkan atau membuat fondasi yang kuat untuk keberlanjutan dari program ekowisata di Siberut. Dan Taman Nasional Siberut adalah taman nasional yang memang diperuntukkan untuk konservasi keanekaragaman hayati, di mana Siberut ini merupakan daerah yang sangat unik, sangat banyak sekali spesies-spesies yang langka yang hanya ada di Siberut, dan ini perlu dilestarikan bersama dengan budaya yang ada di daerah Mentawai ini. Taman Nasional Siberut menjadi sangat unik untuk sebagai sebagai objek wisata yang sangat menarik, baik untuk wisatawan lokal maupun mancanegara.
Accomplishment of 70% is based on the increase of the knowledge and skills of the human resources from the ecotourism training. The last marketing agenda was to make partnership with all parties through M.I.C. tourism concept or Mentawai Ecotourism Product and Services Exhibition. Ecotourism exhibition was held in UNP campus. Some of the village's representatives came to show several ecotourism products and services. They were also introduced to several souvenir and culinary entrepreneurs in Padang City. This exhibition was held in hybrid event kind of way. The governor of West Sumatra province and a deputy from the tourism ministry also attended the exhibition, and they gave such warm welcome. Besides introducing the products and services to the market, the exhibition's other mission was to enable the business-to-business scheme potential. Thanks to this project, the team and Trisakti School of Tourism's lecturer were able to publish 1 book, 7 articles in international scientific journals, and 2 articles in national scientific journals. At the end of this project, we evaluated and analyzed all activities, outputs, and outcomes using mixed methods. The data proves that the achievement of the project management team resulted in a final score of 86%. This value has exceeded the project achievement target, both in terms of training activities as well as the output and outcome set at 60%. The ecotourism project in Siberut has not yet reached its perfect point. It is necessary to enrich and sustain ecotourism development by various parties, whether it's by the local government, universities, NGO, or other private sectors. Theoretically, ecotourism development couldn't reach independency if it's only done in 2 years.
Kami selaku pemerintah desa mengucapkan terima kasih sebesar-besarnya kepada STP Trisakti dan TFCA yang bekerjasama dengan UNP, DISPARPORA, dan Kabupaten Kepulauan Mentawai, serta berbagai institusi lainnya yang telah berkolaborasi dengan kegiatan TFCA Trisakti.
In its implementation concept, ecotourism's human resources and infrastructure phase needs decades to be done. The support and consistency from our local communities as the implementer, the government as the regulator, and private sectors as the dynamists will be the key factor in achieving an independent tourist village, including preserving the ecology and cultural principle in every supporting part of Siberut National Park. Therefore, Trisakti of Tourism's project team proposed ideas on the importance of composing documents such as Ecotourism Master Plan, Site Plan, Detail Plan, and several social nature living action implementations in 3 villages.
Kami atas nama Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Trisakti pertama-tama menyampaikan ucapan terima kasih yang tak terhingga kepada Direktur TFCA Bapak sampai di PhD yang begitu kepercayaannya kepada kami sangat luar biasa. Lalu yang kedua pastinya kepada pemerintah daerah Mentawai, khususnya DISPARPORA dan BAPPEDA yang juga telah mendukung kegiatan yang dilakukan oleh tim dari kami Sekolah Tinggi Pariwisata Trisakti selama berada di 3 desa Siberut yang kami jadikan pusat untuk pembinaan. Dan juga yang terakhir, ucapan terima kasih kami kepada TN Siberut dan UNP Universitas Negeri Padang.
For now, Trisakti School of Tourism or TFCA, also other collaborators have provided the initial legacy of ecotourism development in Siberut. In the exit strategy, Trisakti School of Tourism has accepted the best 34 students from Mentawai Archipelago District to study tourism. In the future, they will not only become the agent of change in the development of Mentawai's tourism, but they will also become the tourism people who will make Mentawai proud. Bumi Sikere is the perfect place to sharpen our minds, strengthen our feels, appreciate spiritual world, and soften our touch in every life aspects, including ecotourism and art. Masura Bagata, Ecotourism Development Project in Siberut National Park areas, STP Trisakti and TFCA-Sumatera.